Again, welcome to University Express. My name is Dawn, and I'm happy to have you here at our Cheektowaga Senior Center for our presentation this afternoon. University Express is offered at many different community centers and libraries throughout Erie County. They have lots of programs that they offer, including a balanced program, which Eric is responsible for, and he's here to share some of that information for you today. Today's class is not only live here in person at the Cheektowaga Senior Center, people are able to view it online, virtually, and it'll be recorded for future viewing. So welcome here to the Senior Center. We are now doing a scan tag check-in system. So if you already have a scan tag, thank you. If you've applied for one, they are going through all the applications and sending them out. If you prefer not to have one, just let whoever's scanning to scan you as an other as you come in. As a courtesy to both our speaker, people at home, and people here, please silence your cell phone and make sure that things are good. And I'm very excited to welcome Aaron Weisansal, right? All right. He's a health and wellness coordinator with Erie County Department of Senior Services. Beforehand, Eric earned his bachelor's degree in kinesiology.
Kinesiology. A lot of letters.
Kinesiology. All right, I'm going to remember that word for next time. At SUNY Brockport, then stayed at Brockport and received his master's in public health. Afterwards, Eric joined the Erie County Health Department to help set up COVID vaccine sites, and then joined Senior Services shortly after. So I think you're in for a treat, Eric. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
And we're doing Balance is Key.
All right. Thank you. That's so the applause. Hopefully I earn it at the end. All right. Thank you, Dawn. Like Dawn said, my name is Eric Weisansal. I'm the Health and Wellness Coordinator with Senior Services. Before that, I was with the Health Department, setting up vaccine clinics. I like this job a little bit better. A lot less needles, a lot more talking to lovely people like yourself. So, getting right into it, balance is key. So, here to just talk about some ways to help with fall prevention. We're going to talk about a little bit about exercise. We're going to talk a little bit about home safety, and then we're going to finish up with a couple of different just habits that you can try and take up and make part of your daily routine that will help with fall prevention. All right, so before I keep going, my first question is, will it click? If not, I can stand on this side.
I'm standing clicking for you.
All right, so my first question for you, speaking about exercise, does anybody know the best exercise you can do out of any of them? Walking? That's always the first one I get. It could be the right answer.
Swimming.
It's kind of swimming? Great answer. Yeah?
The one you will do.
Oh, there you go. You've been my presentation before?
No, sir.
All right, yeah, the one that you'll do, the one that you enjoy, because that's going to be the one that you're going to keep with. I could tell you that the best exercise is to go and do bench press, but how much are you going to do that? I don't want to do that either. So it's going to be the exercise that you stick with, that you enjoy, feels less of a chore to get up and go do, something that you like. Well, I don't think I would have to sell you on something that you like to do. Another quick thing I'm going to add before I get into it, please feel free to raise your hand at any time, wave at me or whatever, and ask me a question at any time. I don't want it to be that I'm just talking at you. I like a little bit more of a discussion. So please feel free to do that.
So I will. It'll be your slide turner.
Actually, I got a lot of animations I can click on mine. I'll just stand over here. All right. Can everybody still see me?
Yeah.
All right. How can you improve your balance? Can you improve your balance by simply reading about it?
No.
I could read a whole engineering textbook. That does not mean I'm going to be able to go the next day and build a bridge. I don't think I want that for myself or for the community. Probably not going to work out great. Best way to do that is simply by exercising. Practice makes perfect in this case with exercise. When you exercise, you're practicing different movements that you'll use throughout the day and just making it easier to navigate throughout your surroundings every day, and hopefully make it so that you can move more and for longer periods of time. I have two quotes here that I like to use. We do not stop exercising because we grow old. We grow old because we stop exercising. And my other one I got here is, if you don't make time for exercise, you'll probably have to make time for illness. Before I continue, a lot of people think that when you exercise, it has to be this big chunk of time throughout your day where it's like, oh, 1 hour, that has to be my time to exercise. And that can seem like a lot. That doesn't have to be the case. What it can be is 10 minutes, a couple times a day. That free time that you find. It could be you're sitting on the couch, commercials come on, you're probably not going to buy that stuff anyways. You can stand behind the couch, just march your legs, move your arms around. Just finding that time throughout the day that you could get up and do something. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, like going back to the bench press example. You don't have to be doing that. It could be simply just getting up during commercials and walking around your house. It all adds up. So it doesn't have to be this big chunk of time. Come on in. You're in the right spot. But yeah, it could be little chunks of time throughout the day. It all adds up. It's not going to really be too big of a difference, unless you're training for something crazy like running a marathon or something. But or that's not me. But yeah, if you're going to Paris this summer. And to go on top of that, I probably should just add this because I use it every time. Another quote I like is, it doesn't matter how fast you go, you're going faster than the person on the couch. And with that, I like to just talk about, everybody has different ability levels. So everybody's exercise is going to look a little bit different. And as long as you're doing something, that something is helping you greatly. And try and just do a little more each time. And that will go a long way. All right. How does exercise help with balance? There are 4 main kinds of exercises that we'll talk about over the next couple of slides that directly affect your balance and ability to prevent falls. And before we get into the types of exercises, does anybody know what atrophy is? Yes?
Things that lock up.
What's that?
That your body, something locks up.
Yeah. It's when your muscles start to shrink, just because they're not being used. So I'm going to tell you something super unfair. Does anybody want to guess how long it takes for muscles to start to shrink, just based on not being used? Yeah. Okay, not that bad. It's not that bad. 2 weeks. 2 weeks of not being active in any way will start to make your muscles shrink a little bit. And that is not that long of a time. On the other hand, here's the unfair part. Does anybody know how long it takes to gain muscle?
2 months?
2 months? Very close. 4 to 6 weeks. So it's just about double that, which isn't a very good deal. I wouldn't accept that one. But the silver lining there is that it doesn't matter what age you are able to build, or at the very least maintain, your muscle strength and muscle size, as long as you are just keeping moving in different ways. So it doesn't matter what age, you can continue to grow muscle, which is a great thing. So let's just talk about atrophy. Let's get into the 4 kinds of exercise. We got endurance, flexibility. I can't do that either. Strength, and probably the most obvious is working directly on balance. All right, endurance. This is a kind of exercise that helps you with your balance over an extended period of time. So this is what's gonna work on helping you to be able to walk longer, stay up and about just for longer periods of time throughout the day. When I had asked what the best exercise is on all of my classes, everybody says walking, and that could be very, very well be true. If that's the one you're going to keep doing and you enjoy doing, that's the best exercise for you. And walking is very easy to see progress. For example, if you were only able to do a 5-minute walk and then you need to take a breather, take a seat, great, that's fine. You're going faster than the person on the couch. Maybe the next day though, try for 6 minutes. See how that goes. And if you get to 6, that's a whole another minute than you did the day before. So it can add up really quickly. And there's a lot of other different exercises like that where you can quickly see progress. It might not be getting the building that strength immediately, but it helps to see that progress quickly. It makes you kind of feel good about it. Makes you want to keep going with it. Some other ways to work endurance. Somebody has also said swimming. Very good for endurance, but you also don't have to be going Michael Phelps with it, going back to the Olympics over there. You don't have to be swimming laps or doing anything crazy. One of the things I recommend is just walking in the pool, walking laps back and forth. There is so much that is doing for you. One, if you have hip pain, knee pain, ankle pain, it could be arthritis, it could be something else. What that's going to do is going to take a lot of pressure off of those joints, and you'll feel pain relief just from 2 or 3 sessions alone. Again, you have to keep with it to build that strength, but just from 2 to 3 sessions, you'll feel a little bit of that pain relief because so much pressure is being taken off. Not only does walking in the pool work on endurance, but it also goes into strength because pretty much just being in the pool is a strength exercise in itself by walking around. There's a stationary bike, pretty straightforward. Not going to be going too fast, but you'll be moving. That's the important thing. Does anybody play pickleball here? No? Know what pickleball is? It's, for those who don't know, it's like the in-between of ping pong and tennis. And it is very fun. A lot of seniors play it, and it's really good for endurance, as well as specifically working on balance. It's not as much as tennis because you're not sprinting around and everything, but more so you're in probably about this size space, and you just gotta move around in there, hit pretty much a wiffle ball. But very fun, very good exercise. I recommend giving it a try. They're on most tennis courts now, so just something to keep in mind. Climbing stairs, not as fun to me as just walking. Probably a little less scenic, but working on stairs can be very good, again, for both endurance and for working your strength. Some people have told me that they go to like their high school football field and just walk the stairs there. Again, not my thing, but it's a very, very good exercise. And practicing going up on those stairs is really good for your thighs. And then there's yard work. Simple as that. Walking around your garden, getting up, getting down, planting. That is a very good exercise. So wait, maybe we are talking about gardening today. It all comes around. And another thing before I forget is going off of my slides a little bit. But does anybody feel when they get up out of bed, or it could just happen standing up out of a chair, do you ever get dizzy or lightheaded from doing that? Yeah, it's super common. A lot of people tell me that that's an issue they have, and there's pretty much one of 2 things that's going on there. The usual case is it can be a blood pressure thing, when we'll stick to that example of laying in bed. You've been laying there presumably all night. The blood in your body is used to just going pretty much, if I was the blood, walking to that chair and walking back. Pretty easy for me. But then all of a sudden, you stand right up, and now I gotta go from here to somewhere up there. It's gonna take me a second to figure out how to get up there and catch up. So it's the same thing with the blood, where instead of just going side to side, now it has to go all the way from your feet to the top of your head. So it's that playing catch up that can make you dizzy. Some good things for that is one, to, even before you get out of bed, is to just stretch. You can do a lot of stretches just laying down in bed. What that's going to do is it's going to increase your blood circulation. And it's really good for getting your day started. I use the example of a car in winter. It's better for the car in winter if you let it run for a little bit before you get a move on. Same idea. You're stretching in bed, you're increasing that blood flow. It's going to be easier for that blood to get from your feet to your brain, where it's pretty well needed. And that's what can make you dizzy. Another thing you can do is just take your time getting out of bed. Sit on the side of your bed, let it catch up a little bit, and then go about your day. The other thing that can cause that random dizziness is there's an organ in your ear called the vestibular system. And that's what kind of is tracking where your head and body is in space. So if I am spinning around, make myself dizzy, the reason I'm getting dizzy is because that vestibular system is like, what are we doing right now? And I like to go, anybody know the ride at Darien Lake, the Tilt-A-Whirl? Anybody want to go on that? No. I don't either. As a kid, I loved it. I know now that my dad absolutely hated it because me and my brothers would want to go on it over and over again. Him, not so much. But as a kid, I was used to that. I was spinning around more when I was playing and running around in the yard. I'm running around, spinning. My vestibular system is being tested. It's more used to being spun around and moved like that. Where now, people won't spin around as much. So it's not as used to it. That can be trained a little bit. You could even just sit in a chair and just move your head side to side, up and down, and just do that for a couple minutes. Preferably seated in case you were to get a little dizzy. But that can help to train it a little bit. There's also some crystals in there that can get out of whack or out of line. And that's a little harder to deal with because they got to go back in place somehow. And I know physical therapists and chiropractors have some maneuver where they're going to flip you around and everything to put it back in place. Don't ask me to do that. I don't know what I'm doing.
Does that work?
I've heard good things about it. It doesn't work permanently. It will probably come back at some point, but I've heard people say good things about it, and that has helped them, not the long term, but in the short term.
Does it happen to stroke victims of dizziness?
That I'm not too sure about, actually. I'm not too sure, so I won't lie to you. Sorry about that. Yeah.
Does that have anything to do with tinnitus? At the ringing in the ears?
Yes, that can be a sign that goes along with it, and not really directly causing each other, but they tend to go along with each other. So, great question. And I think that's all I have on the dizziness stuff, unless I have questions. Yeah.
About vertigo.
Yes, vertigo.
I mean, I know this exercise, I suffer from vertigo.
Mm.
The exercise you're saying is what?
Yeah, that's it. Like I said, it's not gonna cure it. That's most likely the crystals, where like you can just be standing around and all of a sudden the room is spinning. Does that happen?
Yes.
Yeah, that can likely be like the vestibular system. That.
I was given the same exercises like you said for the.
Oh, you were given those.
Yeah.
Great. I'm doing something right. Thank you.
Excuse me, what kind of system did you say?
It's called the vestibular system. Yes. And if you want me to write it down for you after, I can do that. It's a weird word, but I can do that for you, no problem. All right. So, a little more on flexibility. Now that I moved on from the initial stretch before you get out of bed. It's also good to stretch before you get into bed. It's kind of the opposite, where it's just winding you down now, and it's going to make you feel a little better in the morning. You're winding your muscles down, getting ready to relax. And another time that I think is very important as well is before doing other exercises. it's good to stretch, warm your muscles up, and do that after. The before is to make sure it helps to prevent injuries, and afterwards it helps with muscle recovery. A lot of ways to work flexibility, simply that stretching. There's also chair yoga, Tai Chi, and really mostly just stretching. The more you do that, the better it is going to be for you. I'm going to use a very simple example. I will try to explain as best I can for the people just listening. But for example, I am falling to my right, not preferred. So I bring my right leg out to try and catch me. And I have to get like a nice wide stance. If I'm not stretching, that may not be a position that I'm necessarily comfortable with, that I'm used to doing. So I need to be able to get my leg out there in the first case. So by stretching, you can be more comfortable with those kind of awkward movements that you may need to catch yourself. I'm going to go back to that example in my strength slide. So I'll be back to stepping up on the side. All right. Balance. It's kind of obvious. By working on your balance directly, it's going to help with balance. Makes a lot of sense. But there's all of the other kinds of exercises are going to work directly with balance. But there are some things that you can do specifically for balance. That yoga, chair yoga, either way, is going to help with balance. But these are some things that you can do every day that take less than a minute. So my first one is, brought this chair out here for a reason. Could be before you go out for the day or when you're winding down, whatever it may be. Stand next to a chair so you have something to support yourself, and then just try and stand on one foot for as long as you can. When you're done, go to the other one. It's similar to that walking where it's going to be quick, where you can see that improvement. So we'll say 15 seconds the first day, just random example. Next day, you might get 2 more seconds, and you may even see yourself starting to rely on that chair less. It does not take long, and it goes a really long way for working that balance directly. Another one that is very good for balance that takes very, very quickly is, hopefully no officer has had you do this, but walking along your counter so that, again, you have something to hold yourself onto, and just doing those heel-to-toe walks. It can be harder than it looks, but just trying to walk in a straight line, touching your heel to your toe, works directly with balance, and just very, very good for you, very quick. So just doing those 2 things each morning can go a really long way. Another thing with balance that I want to add, it's not so much the exercise part of it, but canes and walkers, the use of those, if they're being used improperly, can directly affect balance with or without it. A lot of people with canes and walkers will have it out in front of them more, and it creates that little hunch where you're leaning forward more. The way that both canes and walkers are supposed to be used is that they're supposed to be right alongside you, and you should have a slight bend in your elbow. You want to be inside that walker, not leaning out forward in front of it. A couple things with that is it does make that posture issue. So now if you're leaning like this, well, I'll start with there's a center of gravity in our body, right around our belly button. Nice and linear, that's how our body wants to be. When you have posture issues, the center of gravity kind of moves out in front of your belly button, and so now it's pulling you towards the ground a little bit more. And not only is there that, but if you were to fall forward with that, what's going first? It's your head. And I don't know about you, but I'd like to protect that. So be conscious of how you're using your walkers, how you're using your canes. 2 really good exercises specifically for posture. The one is, I'm going to try and explain it and show you because of virtual people. So putting your fingertips on your shoulders and just moving them in, trying to touch each elbow. Doesn't have to touch, and then just slowly doing that. Very good for posture. Another good one is going up against we'll pretend there's no paintings and stuff, but you put the back of your hands as close to the wall as you can, and you just raise and touch your fingertips over your head. Again, it doesn't take very long, and it helps a lot with posture so that you don't have that little bit of a hunch that can pull you towards the ground a little bit more.
Excuse me, are your heels like against the wall too, or are they away?
That part doesn't matter as much as long as you're secure, really. Just don't want to fall over during that. So where your feet are doesn't matter as much. It's mostly about your shoulders. There's going to be a whole lot of posture issues for my generation as well, but mostly because we're just like that all the time. So that's another issue, not mine to solve yet. All right. And strength. Strong muscles can help you stabilize yourself and to act in the case that you were to fall. In my fall prevention class, a question I get relatively often is, why do I have to work my upper body if I'm trying to stay upright on my legs and my feet? And I say, good question. So the reasoning behind that is going back to my simple example of you've been stretching, you listen to that guy who came to Cheektowaga, that's me, and now you're able to get your leg out there. Great, step one. You can get your leg out there, but do you have the strength to be able to catch yourself over there? So you need to have a little bit of each to work together to help protect you from these falls. On top of that, now going back to my question that I asked myself of why do I have to work the upper body? And my weird analogy for that one is about skydiving. So with skydiving, they have that backpack that determines their fate. And if that first parachute, if the person beforehand didn't put it in right and it doesn't come out correct, they luckily have a backup parachute. So leg out here, it's your first parachute, but if you're to keep on going, here's your backup parachute. So you can catch yourself on a wall, on a couch, whatever it may be. But being able to use both is going to help you the most. Relying simply on just your leg strength is great that you have the leg strength, but you need that backup plan of having strong upper body as well, just in case to help secure yourself as well. Some ways to work strength. There are 3 that I'll talk quickly about: resistance bands, light dumbbells, and calisthenics. And that reminds me of a bunch of flyers. I'm going to multitask over here real quick. So resistance bands, I'll just put those on at the end. Resistance bands are my preferred way to recommend strength exercise compared to dumbbells. Again, if dumbbells are what you enjoy, I'm not going to stop you. If that's what you're going to keep on doing, perfect. But with dumbbells, they can be a little hard on the joints. And you'll typically feel a little more sore the next day compared to resistance bands and calisthenics. And you know that guy, Tom Brady, played way too long, bullied us around. He's a good example for this. Is he mainly exercised using resistance bands compared to dumbbells or heavy weights. And he credits us that a lot to be why his career was so long. I think Josh Allen does the same thing. But it's just a lot easier on the joints. You won't be as sore, and less injuries come from resistance bands as compared to dumbbells. But if you like dumbbells and you keep doing that, again, keep on going. Another thing with resistance bands is they, one, are very inexpensive. and you really only need one. They are adjustable for how much weight or resistance that you're getting. Farther on the outside, it's a little easier. Closer to the middle, it's a little harder. So you really only need one, maybe two if you feel the first one got a little too easy for you. And you can do all sorts of exercises with that. On top of that, you can use that to help you stretch in ways that you normally wouldn't. So we'll go back to stretching in bed. You can put it around your foot and help pull your leg up a little bit towards you. You can put it around your back and just kind of pull your arm back, stretching out that shoulder. So it can be used in a lot of different ways. And also, on top of that, resistance exercises help with bone density. People a lot smarter than myself have done a lot of studies on that, and it helps to fight osteoporosis. Don't ask me the science behind that because I don't know, but it has been proven. And the good thing about that is it's continuing to help prevent injury in the case you were to fall. If you have strong bones, you're less likely to break something if you were to fall. So it not only helps with the prevention, but in the case that you were to fall, which we won't, because we're listening to that random guy at Chihuahua. It helps the whole way through. On top of that, there are calisthenics. You don't need any equipment whatsoever. This is just kind of body weight stuff. And before I talk about a couple different kinds of body weight exercises, I will tell you, if you are sitting on your couch and moving your arms around, calling it a calisthenic exercise, great, count it. I will count that any day. At the very least, as long as you're moving your arms around, you are working range of motion, which is helping with flexibility. So just by using your muscles in whatever way is going to be very beneficial for you. You could just make stuff up and count it. Great. You're moving your body around. That's all I'm asking. But some specific calisthenic exercises, there are those posture ones, but those are more specifically for posture. So we'll go back to, you're watching TV on the couch, and there's a commercial. You don't want to buy, trying to think of a random product. You don't want to buy Pepsi today. So you go behind your couch, and this is probably a better angle, and you can just go up on your toes. Work your calves there, also your ankle as well. You can march in place. That's going to be very good for both strength and endurance. March in place for as long as you're comfortable with doing. Always try and have something there for you to hold on to. Going back to those stairs, if you just go to the bottom staircase, or the bottom step of your staircase at your house, hold on the railing, and just step up, step down. Very good exercise. I have a packet with a bunch of calisthenic exercises that you're welcome to take with you on the way home. And just whatever it is you're doing is going to be beneficial as long as you're moving. Going back to that quote of, it doesn't matter how fast you're going, you're faster than the person on the couch. So just please get up and move, find something you like, and go with that. It's going to be a lot easier to continue if you like it. All right, we are going to move on to home safety. Does anybody have questions, comments, concerns that they want to talk about exercise with me first? All right, and if you think of something, I'm still here. All right, so for those that do fall, 72% of falls happen at home. I have two general theories on why. The one is if you are more inactive, then you're more likely to be at home. And if you're at home more, you're just probably going to fall there if you were, because that's where you are most of the time, just by the timing of it. My other theory about it is that people tend to know their homes like the back of their hand. Like you can get up from the couch and be like, all right, I know it's 2 steps to the right, turn around, take 5 steps, and I'm at the bathroom. Perfect. And you can kind of go on an autopilot when walking around your house. I'm guilty of that. I walk into doors all the time. But since that people know their homes so well, they can get into that autopilot. Now they're thinking about, oh, what am I having for lunch today? Oh, what was that thing I had to do? And then you're not really paying as much attention. And so then one thing may change in the house and you may trip over it. So those are my two kind of theories. None may be right, one may be right. But that's just what I kind of take from that. But there are a lot of things that you can do around the house to help prevent falls and make it easier on you. I'm just going to put them all out. Okay. So when I'm doing dishes, I don't know if I'm having too much fun or what it is, because I guess I am splashing around because I always end up with a nice little belt of water right around my waist. What that tells me is that water is coming out of the sink. It's making its way out, and with that, it's going to be ending up on the floor. So first thing I'll say is, if there is water in your floor, just wipe it up right away. Don't be like me. I'm a bad example. I'll say, it's water. It's going to evaporate. But then later, I'll forget that I did that, and now my socks are all wet. But on top of that, there's also rubber mats that you can put right in front of your sink. It's not going to prevent the floor from getting wet, but what that rubber mat will do is it'll stay grippy, even if it is wet, the top and the bottom. So it's not going to slide out on you, and it's going to grip to your feet still. So when water is coming out, doing the dishes or whatever it may be, you still have that secure footing. Clearly mark the on and off on gas dials. I put this one in here because of my friend. This was last fall. He was cooking lunch or something, and then went back to the kitchen after he was done, or way later after he was done is when he noticed. He noticed about 2 hours later, and had a little faint smell in there. Not only is that a huge fire hazard, but that gas can make you dizzy, and it can even make you faint. And if you're fainting, my guess is you're probably falling as well. So just keep an eye on that, on whether your gas is on or off. It could be just a little tiny sticker near the off so that it's easier to recognize. One person in my class went as far as just pulling the knobs off at all times and keeping them in a drawer. It seems like a little bit of overkill for me, but it definitely prevents that. So just keep an eye on that. Be conscious of it. Commonly used kitchen items. Yeah.
A tip I use for myself is I've left the flare on a few times. I turn the fan on over the stove. That way I get an audible signal that that fan's running. Check the flames.
That's a great idea. Just have that reminder in the background that you got to go back there and double check everything. That's a great idea. Thank you. So commonly used kitchen items. They should be right around here. Arms reach away. Yeah?
No.
Oh, okay. Testing it out. But they should all be about an arm's reach away. You don't want to have it be where you need a plate, so now you need to climb up on your counter and go get a plate. The things that you use the most often should be super easy to get. This extends to the bathroom as well, where medications, toothbrush, deodorant, hopefully, should all be really easy to get. You shouldn't need to get down and reach underneath a drawer for something that you use every day. Just trying to make it easy on yourself. And to extend on top of that, if you must use a step stool, make sure it is in good condition and is stable, because we're not going up on chairs, right, everyone? Yeah. All right. I'm hoping that's a resounding no, we're not. Yeah.
If you use a stool, make sure that it's a sturdy one, not a cheap dollar thing, because I had seen that happen.
Oh yeah. No, way ahead of me. It's nice if your step stool has a little like railing, something to hold on to, and making sure that it's actually even. And by that I mean you're not putting a bunch of Post-it notes under that one wobbly leg. That's not going to do it for you. So Preferably you have a step stool that's in very good condition, nice and stable, something to hold on to. There's also those grabbers that you can get that just has those like claws at the end. Those can be very helpful as well. Chairs, please don't do that. Especially the ones with wheels. People do that, and they tell me, and I don't know why they tell me because I don't like it. Yeah. Continuing on, fall safety in the bathroom. All right. So the bathroom could also be a good spot for that rubber mat that I had talked about when we were over there in the kitchen. It's going to do the same thing in there. Never really a bad spot for it. But on top of that, inside the shower, there are those textile mats that you could put down. Makes it have a lot more grip than just that slippery porcelain. There's also just strips you can get, which are just a little bit smaller, but still very good for helping to maintain that grip. There's also just shower chairs, which just kind of sounds nice, to be honest. So a couple options for having better grip in the shower. On top of that, grab bars. Everybody have grab bars in there? Yeah. Okay. Can I pick on someone? Yeah? You got a grab bar?
I do, and I install them also.
All right. Then I think I know the answer to my next question. It's not the suction cup one, right?
No, I do travel with one of those,
Okay.
but I find a lot of hotels and that the wall's textured and it won't grab. Mine's mounted to a 2x6 inside the wall.
That's what I want to hear. Have the ones that are mounted. Those are a lot more trustworthy. Some of the grab bars that are the suction cups, if you read the fine print, sometimes they say they're not meant for body weight. So I don't get the point of that. But that is a good idea, just to have one for on the go when there's somewhere that you may not think has one. And aside from that, the suction cup ones are really good to see where you should put one that's drilled into the wall. That's about it. But those, I always say there's not ever a bad spot for one. Wherever you feel that you need a grab bar is a good spot for a grab bar. And there is no such thing as too many. And on top of that, the towel rack is not a grab bar. Those will not support your weight. So please don't trust those. Those are for your towels. On top of that, somebody gave the great idea. They just had an extra grab bar, and they have like 2 steps inside their garage leading inside, and they just put it there because they had an extra one. Thought it was a good spot, and like I said, never a bad spot for a grab bar. They can also go next to the toilet to help you get up. On top of that, if you feel that the toilet seat is too low, there are elevated toilet seats you can get. Super easy to install. A lot of them you can just plop right on top. Nice and easy. And kind of saves you a little bit for a trip. The trip on the way up. So to continue with the toilet, also where's your toilet paper? Sounds like a silly question, but I work with a trauma nurse from ECMC, and she says that a lot of the calls that they get for falls and things of that sort is people who fall off the toilet. And what happens is they'll be, pretend this is a toilet, but don't get too imaginative, is their toilet paper is on the wall behind them. And now they're reaching behind them and they can tip over to the side. She sees a lot of people getting stuck between the toilet and the bathtub there and having to call for help, which can be an embarrassing spot. So try and have one of those those toilet paper holders that go right out in front of you, just in the case that you were to fall. Bathroom probably not a preferred spot. None of them are, but that was not great. To continue on that is, can your bathroom door, hopefully you trust the people you live with, But can your bathroom door be unlocked from both sides? Whether it's just a key that you have hidden somewhere or whatever it may be. Because in the off chance that you were to fall in there and like my nurse friend Beth says, get stuck there between the toilet and the bathtub, you're not going to be able to get the door and open it up. You're going to be stuck there and you need help. It's going to be a lot less traumatic for whoever it may be if somebody were to just be able to open the door instead of a fireman coming in and knocking the door down with an axe. That sounds a lot more traumatic, and it's already probably a bit of a traumatic experience. So again, just making it easier on yourself in the case that something were to happen. Make it easy to unlock. Last thing in the bathroom is different from those rubber mats, just those bathroom mats that you can put outside your shower that will soak up water that comes out of the shower. Those are just good to have so that there is less water on your tile or whatever it may be.
And the question of the toilet seat, instead of getting an elevated seat that looks really ugly when you don't, they do have comfort height toilets.
Mm-hmm.
They're only like an inch and a half higher, but they make a world of difference.
Oh, it can make a huge difference. And actually that just reminded me of another thing I meant to add during that strength one. So, quick segue back to our exercise. I like to tell the two tests that physical therapists use a lot to test what your fall risk is. And what you're going to see is that there's, in both of them, there's a movement that is shared in those. So it's a big one for working on your fall prevention. And it's simply sitting and standing up. The test they use is, the first one is the sit to stand test. They give you a little 30-second stopwatch, and you just stand up and sit down as many times as you can. I think it's about 15 is when you have low fall risk. And so that's a movement that they test to see what your fall risk is. And that's something that you can practice. All you need is a chair. Easy as that.
15 and what length of time?
15 in about 30 seconds. And they do test to see if you use your arms to help you get up or if you can just do it without the use of your arms. It's not the biggest change in results, but either way, if you're using your arms to help you get up or without your arms, it's a very good exercise for fall prevention. The other one I'm talking about is the timed up and go. So again, starting seated, stand up, walk about 10 feet, and then you walk back, and you sit back down. Simple as that. That's another test that they use to see what your fall risk is. But it's that parallel of that sit to stand that is so important, and it is something that you can work on at home. So back to our regularly scheduled program. Last one in the bathroom. Be careful with your shower temperature. I'm not here to say you can't enjoy a nice hot shower anymore. That's not what I'm saying. But just make sure it's not scalding hot, not too steamy, because that steam can just make you a little bit dizzy. So just something to be conscious about. All right, fall safety in the bedroom. Ooh. There we go. Again, just taking your time getting out of bed. I already talked about this, so I won't keep on peltering you with that, but just take your time when you're getting up out of bed. Watch for that dizziness and just be careful with it. On top of that, keep something sturdy next to your bed to help you get in and out. It can also just be a grab bar on the bed frame that you use to support yourself. Then also, arrange your furniture to move easily throughout your room. You do not want it to be a maze. You want it to be straightforward. Get up out of bed, your bedroom door is right there. You don't have to walk around any bookshelves or anything like that. Just make it a straight shot. And continuing pretty much in the bedroom, odds are you're going to be at night, you're going to be in the bedroom or in the bathroom or somewhere in between. So what you want for that is to make sure that you have good lighting. And specifically at night, if you turn on the ceiling light, it can kind of shock your eyes and kind of hurt a little bit. So you typically don't want to just do that immediately because one, you have to walk through the darkness to get to your light switch, and then it turns on, and now it's like, oh my God, my eyes, which is going to be another fall risk. And so instead of that, you can use a little lamp on the side of your bed. Just going to be easier on the eyes. You can get it right away. It could be a flashlight. Most phones have a flashlight now as well. So just keeping that over there. And another thing that you can do is there are different kinds of lights that you can just keep in the hallway that will help to guide your path. With that, there's motion sensor lights. So just all you have to do is put your feet on the ground, and there's a little light brightening your way, and on the way to the bathroom, it does the same thing. There are also timer night lights for the hallway. It could be like sometime where after you fall asleep, the lights turn on, so it's not really messing with you trying to fall asleep, but the lights will turn on nice and dim. You can see your path. And then, of course, just that flashlight. All right, the rest of the house. We got a lot. Whoa. Didn't see that. All right, so first we have cords. You want to try and hide those as much as possible. Not only hide them because it probably looks a little nicer when they're not running all over the place, but the other thing is that they're just a tripwire for you. You want to try and keep those behind furniture. It could be under carpets. And there are also cord covers that instead of being like a tripwire, it's more like a little speed bump, which is still something you could trip on, but is better than having that cord, which will just catch your shin or ankle. So just try and keep cords out of the way as much as possible. Small rugs, are they slip resistant? When you step on them, they may slide a little bit. There are some relatively easy ways to counter that. One could just be double-sided tape. Putting that right on the bottom. Might have to replace it every now and then, but it's going to keep that nice and secure. Or have a small rug where the bottom is rubber. It'll stick to whatever material is underneath, and when you step on it, it won't slide. It grips real nice on that ground. Continuing with the rugs, are they torn? Do they need to be replaced? Sometimes with rugs, they can get that little tuft that comes out. It can be another little tripwire. You can just trim those. Just keep an eye out for them. And another thing that can happen with rugs is that corner, that pesky corner can peel up and just stay up for some reason. I don't know why it decided to do that, but it happens. There is something that is going to sound really weird, but it does work to get rid of those. So you got a carpet, the corner's folded up. You don't like that. Get a full cup of water, put it right on the corner, surrounded by ice cubes, let them melt, and the corner should stay flat. It's a really weird solution, but it does work. So if you have a corner, try that out, and you'll be like, that was weird.
End up with a puddle.
What was that?
End up with a puddle.
Then you just wipe that one up. You don't let it evaporate like me. All right, clutter. There's a lot of good spots for clutter. The middle of the room is not. You want to put that either in like a little storage closet or just out of the way. And if you don't have a spot for that, having it tucked in a corner is way better than the middle of the room. And on the staircase is never a good spot. So the staircase is just for walking. You're not storing boxes and stuff on there. Because I don't know if it's just me, but if I were to fall, I'd prefer it to not be down the stairs. I don't know if I'm in the minority there, but so just keep clutter out of the way, especially out of places that you walk most regularly. Railings, just make sure they're not loose. and that you're actually using them for one. But if they are loose or a little wobbly, odds are it just needs to be screwed in a little bit. And you want your railing to go all the way to the top and bottom step. You shouldn't have to like reach over from the top of the stairs to grab it and then go. You should be able to grab it and then go down your stairs. It's just not a good spot to be leaning over. And if you do need one on both sides, great. If you need to have that support there, continuing with railings / stairs. A lot of people have washing machines in their basement, and I do a lot of things where it's like, I have a hard time bringing my laundry up and down the stairs, whether it's just like carrying it or it makes it hard for them to see the stairs in front of them. People tell me they switch to laundry bags and just give it a toss down the stairs. It's dirty already anyways. Or those like the hip baskets, not the tall ones, but they will put a rope on it and then just kind of rappel it down the stairs and let it slide to the bottom. And then on their way up, they'll bring the rope and then they'll just pull it back on up, just to avoid having to walk down the stairs with that bulky container basket.
You can take, what I had to do was, I take my basket and walk it up the steps. Put the basket on the step and go up.
Yeah.
Just walk it all the way up.
Just
the
take your
steps.
time with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a great idea. Thank you. Lighting, I know I already talked about lighting in general, but for this one, I mean, for example, you walk into your house, it's nighttime, so it's dark. Can you just immediately, your light switch is right there and easy to get to. You don't have to like slide your hand behind a bookcase and like kind of fiddle to try and find it. You want the light switches to be nice and open so that right when you walk in, you can easily get that light to guide your way. Phones or communication devices. If you don't have something like the Life Alert or one of those, there are so many brands now. Just try and keep your phone on you as much as possible. Because if, God forbid, you were to fall in one room, your phone's in the other room, it's gonna be a lot easier to just have your phone on you than to have to crawl into the other room to try and find your phone. So just try and keep that on you as much as possible. And then, of course, there are the life alerts, there's the necklace ones, I believe there's watch ones now, and that's just ones that you can keep on you at all times because you don't even have to think about it. And lastly, where are your pets? They're not really thinking about if you're going to trip or not. They're just going to kind of come up right against your shin, be like, pet. So just keep an eye out for where they are. Try and be conscious of where they are at all times. One person have told me that that was an issue for them, so they put a little bell on their cat, so now they can hear them coming. But just keep an eye out for them. They're not really thinking about if they're going to trip you or not. All right. So for your first time seeing this picture, I hope that nobody's house looks like this. So I have two pictures here. We'll ignore all the fire hazards. Like this towel being dried over a heater. Don't do that. It's not really fall prevention. Just don't do that. But when it comes to fall prevention, there are cords everywhere for one. You want to try and hide those, like I had said. We'll go on up to the stairs. That's not a very good spot for boxes and books. As well as, I don't really see a railing there either, on either side for that. That little rug is has that one little tuft in it, and it's curled over the staircase, and this one is folded over as well. I just hope they know where their cat is. Down here, what do we got with those slippers? There's no back to them. This is, sometimes I get people where they're like, hey, you can't tell me not to wear my slippers. And I'm like, just don't wear those slippers. But the issue with the ones that don't have the backs is when you're walking, if you take a bit of an awkward step or something, and the slipper can kind of pop out in front of you, And now you have to try and fumble to put that back on, and it could just trip you up. Or the back can fold under, cause you to trip up that way. What you want are the slippers that have the heels that go all the way around, and to actually put them on right. My dad just steps on the heels and crushes them. I don't even know how that's comfortable. And I'll talk a little bit more about footwear in a minute. And last thing I got for in this room is, one, there's cobwebs all over their medications. But your medications are one of those things. You want them right around here, not reaching all the way to the top. And for the places that you do have to reach a little bit, hot coffee is probably not something that you want near it. Where you could bump into it and all of a sudden you got hot coffee all over you. So just keep an eye out for the things around you in the spots that you do need to reach. And we'll see what their kitchen looks like. Is it better? No, it's not. So we'll start over here. They kept a lit cigarette hanging over their counter. Just don't do that. For so many reasons. But it's also something that you could bump on your hip, and that will probably hurt. Walking this way, you got the oven door open. Getting hit in the shins doesn't ever feel great, and it'll cause you to trip. So you want to keep that closed at all times. We'll continue with that drawer. This drawer here, it's also the knife drawer, of course. We got this cord running right through, don't want that. Besides the clearly burning food, what do we see with the pans here? The handles are sticking out. Similar to that coffee thing. One, you don't want to bump into that. And now it's something that if you bump into it, there's hot food and hot metal flying at you. You want to keep the pan handles over the counters so that you don't have any chance of bumping into them. Let's see what their other cat's up to. That's not a very good spot for a milk bowl for a couple of reasons. One, if you're going to be cooking there, then you're going to be stepping around here and you can easily trip over your cat. On top of that, you can easily step on the milk bowl, another tripping hazard, and it's full of milk. So now there is milk all over your floor. So try and keep pet bowls and water out of the way of where you'll be walking the most. Let's see, we got the microwave open as well, and an obvious giant puddle there. So just keep those in mind, keep drawers closed, panhandles over the counters, and their bathroom is not as bad. Keep that in looking nice at least. But although it's better, there are some things that could change. One, I see no grab bars anywhere. Two, that toilet paper is in that little spot right behind them where they could fall off the toilet there. There's no mat underneath outside the shower. And it looks like it's all on the hottest it can be, so just keep an eye out for that. But compared to the other two, not nearly as bad. All right. Oh, got ahead of myself. All right. Lastly, some just other habits for fall prevention in general. Get comfortable talking with your doctor about fall concerns. They should be looking out to help you prevent it, not take any independence away. They should be trying to build that independence and getting to the root of the issue. On top of that, get comfortable talking with each other about fall issues. That's one of the biggest things it's such a shared issue that odds are you may have a solution that you've used that you may have never, and it could change everything for you. So a lot of people have this issue. Be comfortable talking about it, sharing solutions, and just the things that you do to prevent falls. That can go a long way, and I think that can be priceless. Continuing on, I'm talking about groceries here. Leave one arm free when carrying items to help stabilize. this is something I am a bad example because I do the thing where it's like I want to do this in one go, bring all the groceries in at once, and ask me why. I have no idea. But it's all good and everything until I have to reach for my keys. So then I have a bunch of bags of grapes, apples, whatever it may be, but I can't get to my keys. And if I were to fall, I am holding stuff. I don't have any backup plan if I were to keep going. So you want to keep that arm free. People have told me that they'll only bring in their frozen foods first, and then if that happens to be a lot for them, they can sit down for a second and then go back and get the other stuff. And you know what, count it, that's another little bit of walking for you. So take your time, bring in stuff in. Groceries could be the problem there very often. All right, footwear. I already talked about slippers. Flip-flops aren't really great for fall prevention. The name is literally flip-flop. So they can fold underneath in the front or in the back. Do the same thing where they kind of jump out in front of you as well. Hopefully nobody's wearing stilettos or anything like that nowadays. That one's pretty obvious. Some nice high heels aren't going to be best case scenario for you. Big platform shoes, that's going to make it very easy to roll your ankle. And going off of that, one with sneakers, make sure the tread on the bottom is in good condition, giving you that grip that you need. And there's a lot of shoes that have like a really big sole for support, but there is like a bit of a sweet spot. You don't want that to be too tall where it ends up pretty much just being a platform, because it goes back to that, makes it easy to roll your ankle. Be careful with your medications. I'll start with, I am not a pharmacist, but make sure that you are, one, taking them at the right times, and just be conscious of the side effects. Side effects can compound, so if a side effect of 2 of your medications are dizziness, then that's going to make you extra dizzy. And talk with your doctor about the timing of those. Some may be better to take in the morning than at night because I prefer to be laying in bed when I get dizzy than to just be starting my day. And to continue with that, pharmacists are the most readily available doctors there are. They are just sitting around at Rite Aid waiting for you. So you can just go wait in line. You can bring a list of your medications. They'll help you however they can. And on top of that, I'll kind of tie these two together. Always pay close attention when doing activities and take your time. It can be really easy to want to multitask and really easy for your mind to wander and think about other things while you're doing something. But just try and focus on one thing at a time and take your time with it. Especially if your phone is in another room and somebody's calling, odds are they just want to tell you about your car's extended warranty. Take your time going to the phone. Take your time going to the door. You probably either know who's coming or they want to sell you something. So just take your time with these things. Think about what you're doing. And I think that's all I have.